There is a sudden interest Indians are developing in owning horses, importing almost 500 horses from Europe into the country, where each horse could cost over a crore. And this isn't for horse racing, mind you. It's to buy their way into the right network and get their children or themselves into a sport that pays extremely well: show jumping and dressage. So this week, I decided to meet with Sehaj, who represented India in the Asian Games for show jumping and runs the largest stable of India.
So every horse has a different requirement of what the shoes need to be like.
And this is not painful for the horse at all.
They can't see, they're not even flinching. They can't feel it. So if you see, the toe part is a little straight.
Yeah.
Where he's rasping it now.
Yeah.
So that is like the equivalent of a sprinter getting that grip in the front and doing that extra little 5% push that you get.
We discussed everything from what is the buying journey, cost and motivations for buying a horse, how one can set up a stable in India, the space required, the investment, the costs and the payback period. What are the revenue streams if one trades in horses, from horse riding coaching, breeding, maintenance, and how anyone in India today can enter this industry, which is doubling annually since 2020. This is Founder's Office with Sarthak Ahuja.
Typically, when people want to get a horse in India, what is the main objective to begin with? Like, is it that they want to compete in a sport? Or a lot more people are just getting horses because they feel, okay, it's an exotic pet and I have the space, have a nice farm, and in my entire set of pets, it would be great to have a horse and take care of it because it's a beautiful animal. What is it like?
So I think it's a mix. I won't be able to tie it down to just one section. It's a good mix because a lot of parents are now pushing their kids to the outdoors, towards sports. And we've had some pretty interesting conversations with people that, we know that our child is not the brightest at academics, and we're okay if he or she wants to pursue a career in sports. A couple of years back, when one would hear sports, it would either be cricket or football. But we are seeing a massive upsurge in people wanting or trying at least to go professional with equestrian sports. A lot of people have moved to Europe. A lot of people have set up their own smaller facilities in tier 2 cities, in and around Bangalore, in Delhi, Noida, Gurgaon, Chandigarh even for that matter. And there are also a lot of people who are 40 plus who are getting into the sport, which was never the case earlier, who are coming on board as people who liked horses at some point in their life and couldn't probably afford it then. And then now they worked hard, they have certain resources at their disposal. So they're like, we don't want to go professional, but we just want to have a horse, have a professional maintain it and just ride on the weekends, spend time with the animal, spend time in nature, and maybe do some small competitions or some small shows.
Okay. Now, if someone has to buy a horse, firstly, what kind of budget should they think of starting off with? And what are the things that they look out for? Like, do they come to you as a person? How does the journey start? Will you start seeing a lot of them going to race courses first or going to polo matches first, then getting interested in it and thinking, okay, I have a farm, let me get a few horses. Then they get in touch with you through the circuit, they get to know, okay, Sehaj sells or trades in horses. And then what do you have to educate them on, or what is the starting point? Like, is it money being a big constraint which will put them off, or so what is the financial commitment, emotional commitment? Where does it all start?
So a lot of times, Sarthak, what we do is we don't tell people to come and buy horses immediately, because writing a big check to buy a horse or include a horse in your family, like we like to call it, is the easy part. It's what comes after which is difficult.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people will come with their kids and be like, we want to buy a nice horse, we want to take the horse and the kid to shows, etc. But a lot of times you'll see that horses get injured, and then a lot of times we've also seen that people are like, no, it's fine, it has to perform. No, it doesn't have to perform, it's injured. If you pulled your back and someone's forcing you to run a race, you will say no. Now just because these animals can't say no verbally, they'll give you certain physical cues or emotional cues that there is some distress. So that is why we always tell people that horse ownership might look very glamorous on paper, but it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
And you have to be extremely passionate to do it, because for us, like we call it, it's a 24/7, 365 days in a year job. Like we get calls if a horse is unwell at 3 in the morning, and we make sure we're here in the next 15 or 20 minutes. So you need an incredible amount of passion to see it through day in and day out. And we do it because we enjoy the horses. And the outcome, like it's a large part of our process, like our performance process is process oriented and not result oriented. And that's why I think we've been pretty successful over the last 10 years, because the horses' needs are put first always. There is no question about that. There have been times where we've trained for competitions for 3 years, 4 years, and on the day of the competition, if the horse is not feeling fine, we respectfully bow out and say that, this is not something that we would want to put our animals through. So that comes with a lot of commitment.
Correct. And also financial, I mean, sorry to put it like that, but it's almost like, you're taking horses to another country.
Yeah, of course.
You yourself are going, you'll probably have an entourage of people who take care of the horses along with you.
Yeah.
And then if it's not in a position to perform on the last day, you have to kind of
Yeah, of course.
opt out.
You have to opt out. You have to opt out. And it's for the benefit of your partner.
Correct.
And at the end of the day, it's a partnership, because a horse without a rider is a horse, and a human being without a horse is a human being. Like.
Correct. Okay. So if someone has to buy a horse, what do you think is the minimum amount they should have ready, and how is it tiered? Like, is it that Indian horses are ranged at between an X price and a Y price, and then what are the other breeds or origin of horses where people are interested in, and what's the classification like?
So the Indian horses were predominantly used after their racing careers were over in India.
Okay.
So initially, the Indian thoroughbred horses would be born at the stud farms, go for racing, and after their racing careers were over, because they finished racing pretty early in their life, majority of those horses were retrained for jumping, cross country, dressage, etc. And they were pretty successful up till a decent level. That is until the European warm bloods started flying into the country.
Okay. And when did that happen?
A large part of that happened around 2015, 2016.
Oh, that's very recent.
Very, very recent.
Just in the past 10 years?
Yeah, only in the past.
Before that, why would people not get it? Because when there's so much of horse racing happening, and horse racing has been going on in India for like over 50 years. I think it was happening even at the time of the British, right?
Yeah.
So, would they do it only on Indian horses, or?
The racing is only Indian horses. So, those horses are born in India. So, you're not allowed, I think you can now import in the stallions and run your own breeding program for racing thoroughbreds.
But they have to be born in India.
I think so. I'm not 100% sure.
Okay.
But majority, 90% of the horses are born in India.
Okay.
Very few horses come outside after leaving a successful career to come and race in India. If horses are flown in for racing, they're normally brood mares, which are breeding female horses who are already pregnant.
Oh, so it's like you want the horse to be born here.
Ideally, with the racing industry at least.
Okay. And how old do horses normally live up to? The reason I ask is just to evaluate, like, to what age are they good for racing, and then after which point they can do other sports like dressage?
For racing, etc., I think they retire them around 5.
At the age of 5?
They are retired.
Okay.
Yeah. They start quite young with them when they're about 3. So 3, 4, 5, they race them for about 3 years. Some horses do continue racing if they're extremely successful. But most horses that I've seen, at least in my experience, are retired between 5, 6 if we are pushing it.
Okay.
And then the retraining process starts. And again,
they live up to close to 15, 20?
20.
20.
20, if you really look after them from the get-go, then 22, 23.
Okay.
And again, performance, it depends what level of performance you're looking at.
Okay.
At a later stage, with the Indian thoroughbreds at least.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, the cost for them, like, what does it cost upfront?
I think if you buy them absolutely untrained from the race course, you can get a decent horse for about ₹1 lakh.
$1 lakh?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then you have to invest about a year in training the horse also.
Okay.
If you buy a thoroughbred that's already doing competitions in the circuit, good results, good X-rays, very important, good medical history, you can go up till 15 lakhs also.
Okay.
for a good thoroughbred.
But is it also for example, if someone just wants a pet
Yeah.
and doesn't really want a horse for racing, do you think it would be inhuman in a way on the horse to not have it run around quite like you have to take a pet dog for a walk?
Oh, definitely, yeah.
Yeah. So if you
definitely.
buy a horse, you need to mandatorily ensure that
There is enough space to run around. Or either
Okay.
you're exercising the horses, your social, very important part is the exercise bit. So even if you're not personally exercising the horses, you need to ensure a minimum amount of movement every day. Because you have to realize that they're herd animals. They also need socializing. So keeping one solitary horse away from other horses where he or she can't hear other horses or see other horses is also not very kind to the animals. So that is one thing. The socialization part of it is very, very important.
So people would normally not ever buy like a single horse.
If you're keeping them at your private establishment, one horse is never recommended.
Okay. Which is why people, when they buy, they would probably send it to like a stable.
Exactly. Who knows how to look after the horses, where the feed schedules are fixed, the medications that need to be given, an exercise regimen is put into place where you're working at least 6 days a week. There is enough place for turnout where the horses can run around and just be themselves, because that's a very important part of their mental well-being also.
Okay.
Because at the end of the day, you have to treat them like top performance athletes.
Yeah.
They need their downtime. They need to have a little fun once in a while. It's important. You can't be just business 24/7.
So if someone comes to you and says, now I want to make a horse a part of my family,
Right.
or I want to get into the sport, what is the buying journey like? Because typically, and I hate to compare them to cars, but I would think it's almost like a, and I wouldn't want to do it disrespectfully.
Of
I'm
course.
just thinking
Of
from
course,
the
yeah.
perspective that you go and buy like a car, you go to a place and you test drive cars,
Yeah.
and you'll say, okay, not a Mercedes, maybe an Audi, maybe a BMW, a
Right.
Jaguar. You'll try all of them out and you'll say, okay, this one speaks to me and this is the color and now I'm enjoying it. Is it very similar here or what is it
It
like?
is sort of similar actually.
Okay.
It is similar. So when people come to try horses or buy horses, and when we go to try and buy horses in Europe also, a large part of it is the feeling. Okay, you have your basic requirements on paper that we need this level of performance, this age bracket, and in that, with those requirements, you'll try out 10 horses.
And what are those parameters typically? Like I'm just thinking in a car, it's almost like a
Horsepower.
Yeah. So is it similar?
Very similar. Very similar.
And how is it measured? Like, is it how fast or how far they can run in a given time?
No, it's actually the level of competition they've been competing at.
Oh, so a horsepower is only something as a metric you can measure when they have been performing at competitions.
Exactly.
So if they've not been performing, there is no horsepower that you can define.
Yeah. And then in that case, then you're buying the breeding or the pedigree of the horses.
Okay.
Yeah. So that can predominantly it'll go in a good direction or a positive direction, but there have been instances because again, at the end of the day, they are animals. They have their likes and dislikes. So something that's great on paper, most of the time it should turn out well. But there are times also where it doesn't turn out well. It's like, there's no reason why if the parents are professors, the kid will become a professor.
Yeah.
Okay, the kid will be smart definitely, but there's no guarantee that it'll be, a professor. So there are a lot of checks and balances that have to be done while picking up the horses.
Okay.
And when we are picking up horses from Europe, we do a lot of due diligence.
Okay. So when someone has to buy a horse from say like a Germany,
Yeah.
typically what is the cost like of the entire process? And I would say one is the cost of the horse.
Right.
The other is the cost of going to Germany, evaluating it.
Of course.
Then I'm assuming there would be some licenses in place to ensure that the horse can come into India.
Of course.
So how does it all add up? Can you break it all down so that people know what's the total
Of
cost
course.
like?
So your flight and travel, I'm sure you would.
Yeah. Let's assume you go with a partner to and it's almost like think 5 lakhs
Easily.
is like a
Easily,
very
yeah.
easy bare basic. So anywhere
Absolutely.
between 5 to 10 lakhs is
yeah.
what you would spend on just evaluating the
Exactly.
horse.
Exactly.
Okay.
And then post that, we always recommend a veterinary check.
Okay.
A veterinary check is done by a licensed professional or a veterinary clinic that generally includes about 30 to 36 x-rays. So you
X-rays?
X-rays of the back, X-rays of the legs, the joints, to see the wear and tear, to see damage, if there's anything that can become a problem in the future. There are a lot of blood tests that are done in that veterinary check to check if the horse has been doped, if any painkillers, etc., were given while you were trying the horse to mask.
that happens?
Yeah, it happens pretty often. Then you scan the muscles and the tendons to see if there is any long-term damage. And then you also do a clinical vet check. Clinical is basically you evaluate the horse on like a visual thing. And there are various tests and all. The entire process takes about 3.5 hours.
Oh, so think about 10 lakhs of you going and evaluating.
Yeah.
Another 3 to 4 lakhs of doing the veterinary checks
Per horse.
per horse.
Per horse. So it's about 3,000 euros to 3,500 euros.
And most people, when they buy a horse, are they buying one, or because when you say per horse,
Multiple horses.
they're buying multiple?
Yes.
And typically, what is the, again, I hate to put this to it, but it's almost like what is the average lot size in which you buy them?
So it's very subjective, Sarthak. Again, there are horses that we have bought for 2,000, 5,000, 10,000 euros also, and there are people who've also bought horses for 200,000, 300, 500,000 euros.
So it's almost like 1 crore to 5 crores.
Anything like,
Yeah.
and that's just like the Indian market. So
Really? So the German Indian horse you can get for anywhere between like 1 lakh to 10 lakhs, and a German horse would be starting at 1 crore?
No, starting at essentially about 10 to 15 lakhs.
Okay.
But we do find slightly cheaper options also. Going on the other end of the spectrum, there's no end to it. Like a good jumping horse in Europe that is required for the Asian Games, for example, will be anything between 300 to 500,000 euros, if not more.
But I'm assuming that anyone who's willing to go to Germany and spend about 10-15 lakhs anyway in evaluating a horse would have a pocket size roughly of about 1 crore
Approximately.
To begin with.
Exactly.
Okay, so when you're buying a 1 crore horse, you're doing these vet checks.
Correct.
You're taking an expert like yourself to do it for them, which is a fee in itself.
Of course.
And I would add, say, another 5 lakhs to it to save for experts evaluation and stuff. So it's almost like 20 lakhs is what you're spending in just picking the right horse. And is it that you buy horses as a pair, or that doesn't matter? You could buy 3, 5, whatever.
Normally for transport, because they're transported in lots of 3.
Okay.
So it's always better to either buy 2 or be associated with an establishment that's regularly importing. So even if someone decides to buy 1 horse, it doesn't matter, because then you can club it with 2 other owners who are in a similar city, and then all 3 of them just fly down.
Why? Because the transportation cost is going to be for 3 even if you get 1.
Yeah, you're paying for the block for 3 horses.
Oh, so it's not like in a cargo plane they can just modulate the space.
No, it's fixed.
They can't?
No, they can't. It's a fixed space. The box is a fixed box.
But a plane has a dedicated box to transport horses. They don't like make it specifically.
No, so it's a box. It's a large aluminium box. The horses are loaded onto the box, so there are 3 spaces. In case the horse is very big, then they make 2 compartments out of it.
Oh, got it.
And then that thing is then rolled onto the plane.
Oh.
And when they reach that, the same box is rolled out, and then the horses are taken out of the box.
Oh, wow. Okay. So I'm assuming if people are buying, say, 3 horses, that means when someone's going to Germany, they're essentially ready to spend about 2 to 3 crores safely.
On the upper side also.
On the upper side.
Yeah.
So you would say anywhere between 1 to 3 crores is what people go to Germany in their minds to say, this is my budget to get 1, 2, 3 horses anywhere in that limit.
Correct.
And they're spending close to 20 lakhs on just that evaluation and
Exactly.
picking.
Yeah.
Now, when they put this money, what have you seen typically people have from an ROI perspective? And again, I hate to put this value onto living beings.
Of course.
But just I'm assuming that as humans are spending money on it, is it more ornamental for them? Does it bring them status? Or is the status very highly attached to, okay, now I will take this horse to use them for polo matches or racing or dressage and show jumping, and they'll do well, and I will easily be able to recover it in like all the prize money that I would get. Do you see people thinking about it from this lens? And
so for young amateurs who are just getting into sport and who want to go professional, they are not looking at it from an ROI perspective at all. They are just looking at it from a knowledge gaining perspective, because you need the right partner, you need the right horse to progress in sport. That is paramount. So initially, when most of these youngsters are starting off with their careers, as did we were not looking at anything from a monetary point of view. First, we are looking at getting to a certain level of performance, getting not one but multiple horses to a certain level of performance. So we increase our credibility when you're doing that, because it's very easy to be successful with one horse. It's very tough to be successful with a bunch of horses. So if you're successful with one horse, in our line of work, you're called a one horse wonder, and like it's done and dusted.
And then what do people spend on the permissions and licenses to import a horse? And what is the process like? How long does it last? And
So the licensing part is slightly tricky. You need clearances from the government. You need clearances from the federation. You need, I think, your basic IEC codes, which are easily available now.
Yeah.
But getting the government clearances takes a little bit of time.
Okay.
It takes about 2 to 3 months to get the requisite clearances.
Okay.
So it's called an import license that normally lasts about 18 months
Okay.
from the date of issue.
So once you've gotten it, you have 18 months to import that horse.
Exactly, yeah.
And do people have to typically wait for a month or a time to do it? Because I would assume if you've gotten permission, are you readying like a stable, or what's really happening for an 18-month license?
So normally,
Do
like,
you even need
yeah.
that kind of a window?
No, you actually do not need that kind of a window. Normally, licenses that people apply for are either 3 horses, 6 or 9. Again, tying back to how easy it is to transport them in threes. So a lot of times people would fly in, let's say, 3 horses and see how the summer goes or the rest of the year goes with them, and the following summer buy 3 more on the same license.
So it's like you're kind of optimizing the license cost to keep importing
Exactly,
more.
exactly. So the license cost is fixed.
Which is at?
It's not very high. It's about 25,000 rupees that goes to the government.
Okay.
And then predominantly once you utilize your licenses, you just have to submit your documents and the horses' passports to the federation, saying against this license, these horses have been imported in for my personal use, and then it's done. Then they can issue you a new license. I think there is a cool-off period. I'm not very sure, but I think within a couple of months they can issue you a fresh license.
And does their passport look very similar to our passport?
Slightly bigger, but yeah.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
does?
it does,
So
it
it's
does.
like a bifold you open and
Yeah.
there's the horse's picture.
They have markings. They have markings of the horse. So every horse will be marked differently. So like some
Marking as in like man-made marking or no?
no,
Naturally.
natural markings.
And
Natural
is
markings.
it like a hoof stamp or?
No,
what
no.
is
So
it?
they're
It's
all
like a
microchipped.
fingerprint. They're microchipped?
Yeah, all the horses are microchipped.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's in the neck somewhere. It's a very much smaller than a dog's microchip, just purely for identification purposes.
It's the government that puts it.
No, you have to put it.
You have to put it. So for example, you've liked a horse in Germany.
Yeah. So
Now
that horse
the-
will already come pre-microchipped. If it has a passport, it will be chipped.
Okay.
So then you can link the past
So it's like the
results.
stable owner in Germany has these horses.
Correct.
And he knows these are for business and these are for
Yeah.
for sale.
Yeah.
So he will microchip, which is almost like getting an Aadhaar card for them.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Getting them an identity.
Yeah.
And then there is a microchip reader.
Correct.
Which reads the identity.
Yeah.
And is it like a normal device which is available?
You can buy it on Amazon for I think 600 rupees.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It's
Okay,
very readily available.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there's a microchip reader and it gives you a reading so you can identify the horse.
Correct.
And do people, they can't change the chip?
No, because it's in the neck. You'll have to surgically take it out.
Oh, and it'll be visible
Yeah. If there's any
incision.
stitches or marks on the neck, that's a big red flag.
Okay, so you know there's an identity
Yeah.
issue here.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. And what's the cost of microchipping a horse?
It's not too expensive. I think 20 euros, 30 euros. It's not
Oh,
very
that's not
expensive.
much.
Yeah, you can do it yourself
Oh, and where do you get those chips from?
from the federation.
Federation, which is nationally accredited in some
Exactly,
way.
yeah.
And they will give a chip. And does the chip also have a name of the horse? It's almost like you read it and it says this is.
Only it just has a chip number, which is the horse's identification number.
Okay.
And
Oh, wow.
it comes with a sticker, so you stick it onto the passport. So there's a cross linkage.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So when you're at like customs in India, for example,
Correct.
they will open the passport, they will look at the chip number.
Absolutely
And
right.
they will scan and they will see if it matches. They know this is what.
Exactly.
it
So then
is.
that's proof of identity anywhere in the world.
Okay. And how much does it cost to bring a horse to India then?
Approximately with the license fees and all, it costs you anything between 10 to 13,000 euros per horse.
Oh, that's actually a fair investment, which
It is.
means which means your entire process of just buying a horse in Germany and doing it is no less than 30-40 lakhs.
At least.
Yeah, at least. So you would say it goes on an average to 50 lakhs. So
It
when
does.
you're spending that money, it automatically so happens that the horse that you're getting is about 1 crore plus, 1.5
Yeah,
crores.
yeah.
So your total investment is roughly 2 crores. Is it safe to say?
In some cases, it is. In some cases, it's much lesser.
I would want the average just to understand the Indian market.
I would put it at about 50 lakhs. 50 to 1 crore.
50 lakhs to 1 crore
On average.
on average is the spend.
Yeah.
Okay. So how many such horses are imported into India?
At least I would say about 400 to 500 a year.
Every
least,
year.
At least.
And
yeah.
this has been doubling every year is what you
Yeah,
said.
so the number now stands at around that much.
500.
Yeah.
How many stables are there in Delhi, for example? Or NCR if you were to?
In Delhi and NCR, there would be predominantly 3 major stables and around 50 small ones, maybe more. Big
So your
considering.
stable would have about 60 horses?
We have about 60 horses on this side.
Okay.
Yeah. And then we have another parallel breeding operation, which is about 20 minutes from here. That place has the balance of the horses, about 20 plus.
Okay.
horses.
So total about 80 horses.
Yes.
So would you be among the largest in India in some way? Yes.
Yeah.
And the second or third would be again based out of Delhi or Bangalore?
Bangalore.
And would you say like if someone has to start a stable,
Yeah.
for example, and want to get into this rising demand of horses in India, they should probably look at having an area which is not less than a couple of acres?
Ideally, the best case scenario, again, it depends on the scale. If you're just starting out with, let's say, 3 horses or 4 horses, an acre is also a decent amount of space.
And would you say how many horses can come in a stable which is 1 acre?
1
Like,
acre,
to
you
what
can
extent would you stretch it?
easily, comfortably put in about 8 to 10 horses.
Okay, so imagine someone has 2 acres of space
Right.
in a tier 2 city,
Correct.
and they see that my city has a lot of opportunity for me to do this, and there would be people who would be interested in trying this out, and I can build an entire market for this.
Right.
They start off with 10 horses.
Right.
If you had to design their stable,
Right.
2 acres,
Right.
how many German horses, how many Indian horses would you keep? Like, firstly, how would you say set aside this much money and let's get you a few horses?
I would, if I was to do it in a tier 2 city, which in fact we are helping 2 of our existing clients set up.
So, which tier 2 cities would you?
Chandigarh is one of them,
Yeah.
and Hyderabad is the other.
Okay. Chandigarh, Hyderabad.
Yeah.
Where else do you think lies an opportunity in India?
I think Ludhiana has massive opportunity.
Absolutely.
Calcutta is slightly untapped. There is a lot of potential in Calcutta as well. Raipur, I feel, also has a lot of potential. And Indore, massive potential again. The other places already have smaller centers that are propping up.
Which would be?
Coimbatore was non-existent till about 6 years ago, and it's becoming a power center for horses.
Really?
Yeah.
What has triggered it in Coimbatore?
I think just a sudden upsurge in people wanting to put their kids into riding.
And that can be built anywhere. Like, for example,
Yeah,
if
of
a
course.
stable comes up and suddenly people know that my children can do
Yeah.
horse riding,
Yeah.
there's sudden interest. And one
Absolutely.
person's doing it, it's almost driven by FOMO.
Exactly. And
Okay.
a large part of how Coimbatore actually can be a very good model to replicate for people who are trying to, do this in tier 2 cities. They were very, very smart about the quality of horses that they bought. And they were very smart about the quality of instructors that they got. Extremely driven people, very, very passionate, and obsessed with delivering good quality riding and good quality results.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if someone has an acre or 2,
Yeah.
you would say start off with 10 horses.
Yeah. Start off initially with two or three horses.
Would you say Indian or German?
It depends, Sarthak, honestly. I would always have, if we're starting with 3, I would like to ideally have 2 Indian horses and 1 European horse.
Okay.
Just to showcase the difference. Not in terms of which horse is better or not. Of course,
But
all
just
horses
the
are
performance.
equal. Of course, it's purely based on performance.
Genetics.
Yeah, genetics and performance.
Okay.
Yeah,
So you would say start off with 3.
yeah,
2 Indian, 1 German.
correct.
And for that, I'm assuming you'd have to spend now close to about 1.5 crore just to build these 3.
Yeah, to get these 3 horses going and the place and all, you should be able to do it under 2 crores.
Okay. And that 1 or 2 crores, how would you is there any other infrastructure you would need, or how would you design it? What would you say is like the bare minimum is the next add-on to make that place a fully functional stable?
Okay, so step one would be getting the stables made. So an average international size is 12 by 12
12 by 12 feet.
feet. Yeah. We go slightly bigger. We make them 14 by 14 feet because our horses are also slightly bigger and they are used to a certain amount of space. Step two would be making paddocks. Paddocks are basically just areas where the horses can run around and de-stress.
Okay, so it's not like a competitive area, it's their playground.
Exactly, exactly. And we like to keep it very, very separate. So when they enter the paddock, they know it's fun time. When they enter the arena, they know it's work time.
Okay.
So that.
And how big would a paddock be?
You can make a small paddock for 30 by 30 feet also.
Oh, that's nothing.
Yeah, yeah. It's just basically a change of scenery and a place where they can run around a little bit. And big paddocks run into acres.
And what is unique about, like for example, again, if you start with an acre,
Yeah.
you have 1 acre of land.
Yeah.
How much area would you dedicate to a paddock?
I would put in about 1/5 of the space.
Okay.
Paddocks. Again, as the number of horses increases, I would also increase the number of
total
paddocks.
acreage of.
Yes.
Okay. And at one time in a paddock, how many horses typically?
Ideally,
Graze.
when there are sport horses, we don't put more than one
Okay.
because the risk of injury is very high because very often they kick each other.
Is it?
Yeah. In a
Is
playful
it
way.
for fun?
Yeah, in a playful way. Most of the time, nothing happens.
Okay.
But once in a while, if they connect in the wrong places or the wrong spot, then your horse is out for a couple of months.
Oh, so when they play, it's literally like kicking each other.
Yeah, they'll bite,
like-
they'll kick, and the last thing you want is an injury because of, they got a little too rough with each other. There is no malintent most of the time, but sometimes also when they don't have shoes, it's much easier. The horse shoes that we're putting. When they don't have that, then when they connect also, it's more of a natural thing. Because the shoes are aluminium or metal, when that connects, then it hurts. It hurts for
Got
sure.
it.
Yeah.
Okay. And then you have a circuit?
Arena.
Arena.
Yeah.
And how big would an arena be on a 1 acre stable?
It again, depending on the space and how much we want to grow it, I would always like to leave a little extra space for the arena to expand it if required.
Sure.
I would keep a little less than half an acre
Okay.
for the arena.
Okay. A little less than half an acre.
Yeah.
About 40-45% of the
Yeah.
acre should go into an
Yeah,
arena.
yeah. With
How big is this one?
this is 60 by 35. 60 by 30.
Meters.
Yeah.
And that would be how much of this would this be like 30% of an acre? I'm so bad at like doing this.
I think it would be a little more than 30%. But this farm is about 3 acres.
Okay. Got it. And for the arena, it's essentially just mud laid out flat.
It's again depending on what is available in whichever context and whichever state you're actually based in. We use a lot of Yamuna sand
Acha.
for the thing.
Okay.
We've seen pretty good results over the last 10 years where there is limited impact on the joints, limited impact on the muscles and the tendons.
Okay.
International footing, which is basically that sucks in the water and there's a entire drainage system below it. There's silica sand.
Really?
Yeah, so a lot of good quality footing arenas have come up in North India. There are in fact 3 arenas in North India and they're expensive to make. They're 1 crore each.
Oh, to make an arena is 1 crore each.
If it's international standard quality.
Okay. And where are these arenas?
One is in the Army Center, one is in Meerut and one is in Chhatarpur.
Meerut, Chhatarpur and
The Army Center in
Center.
Dholakua.
Dholakua.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else from an infra perspective?
Just a tack room where you place all your saddlery, your bits, etc. Because you can't leave them out in the open.
Yeah.
Because leather. And a feed room to store all the feeds and all in case of rains.
Got it.
And a small shed for the grass so it doesn't get wet during the monsoons.
So that means barring the cost of the land, which can vary everywhere,
Yeah.
someone can set up a stable in less than 2 crores in which they'll get horses and they'll be able to do everything else around.
Very easily.
Very easily.
Very easily.
Okay. Now comes the part that they've set it up. And I'm asking on behalf of people who would have land and maybe their farmhouse or something and they don't know what to do about it and they see this as a great opportunity and they put this money. As a next step, for 3 horses, how many customers, because they're doing it as a business,
Right.
how many customers do you think they can engage with 3 horses? What is the engagement like? Because when someone teaches riding, how is that different from a show jumping or a dressage, or riding is like an overarching term which covers
Everything.
all of these things?
Yeah. So, to be able to specialize in one of the 3 disciplines, you need to know how to ride. So, riding is the first step. And in India also, what we've noticed a huge trend in the last 1 year is something called Pony Club. So, Pony Club is basically for kids under 10, where instead of fully grown horses, they're learning how to ride on ponies, smaller horses like the one you have.
And
behind
ponies
you.
are like, pardon me for like not knowing,
Yeah.
but ponies are smaller horses or they are like baby horses?
They're smaller horses.
Okay, they're
Yeah.
genetically smaller.
Yeah, they're genetically smaller horses.
And you buy ponies to as a starting point for children, or they serve some other purpose?
Ideally, the best way to start off someone in riding is with ponies.
Okay.
So in Europe, it's mandatory for kids to ride ponies. Kids are not allowed to sit on
Okay.
on big horses because they're much safer, easier to manage, and God forbid, in case you ever have a fall, you're not too far off from the ground. So that fear factor of falling goes out of the system very, very fast.
Got it. So they would be, I would assume, say 60% the height of a horse.
Yeah,
And if someone then does this, would you recommend they bring in one pony also?
definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So one pony to Indian horses, one European.
Yeah. So in
Perfect.
what we've noticed is that when kids or youngsters come, the only time we have fights is for the ponies.
Yeah.
We never have fight for any of the horses. It's only for the ponies.
Are ponies also cuter? Like they're more like, I mean, I'm just thinking from the perspective of kids. Are they more playful with kids?
They are less intimidating to the kids because when you put a European horse who's at top sport in front of a 10-year-old kid, they're towering over them. You know, they weigh 700 kilos and it's only muscle, and it is a little intimidating for them. Ponies are more eye level for the kids, so they're smaller. They're easier for them to wrap their heads around that. You know, this is not something that will intentionally or unknowingly, cause any harm.
Okay.
So that makes a big difference. And generally, again, we've seen ponies that are very, very kind with kids. And we've also seen ponies that put the kids in their place when they're messing up.
Okay.
Yeah.
So where do you source ponies from?
Also-
Very similar to
Yeah.
how you source horses?
Yeah, yeah. Very, very similar.
Okay. It's just a size or a breed difference, but otherwise everything else.
The process
sourcing
stays
is-
the same. The process stays the same.
And how is the costing different?
They are slightly cheaper, not very, like there's not a massive difference, but a top class sport pony in Europe that's extremely successful would be as expensive as a horse, if not more.
Okay.
From, again, I keep coming back to like professional sport and top sport. When you train kids from scratch yourself, what we've seen over the last 10 years is they're always more successful. They're in a set system from the first day. The overall output that you can get out of the child and the horse and the partnership together is much higher because they've been having fun since the first day. So for the horse and the rider, it's just the process. They're not worried about the end result of winning the ribbons or the medals, etc. They're just having fun with their partners who they've had for a very, very long time.
Yeah.
So that's also a very beautiful part of this journey, which a lot of people oversee.
Like, do horses test your patience in other ways?
Non-stop.
How?
So, for example, I have one stallion that I trained from scratch, and he is extremely successful now. And every single day for the last 5 years that I've been riding him, once a day, he will try to throw me off.
Really?
And it happens like clockwork.
But he doesn't like you, or what is it?
He's just trying to assert dominance because he's a stallion. So,
So it comes as like almost first nature to them.
Exactly. So again, with mares, with female horses, they are slightly less trusting. But once you get a mare to like you, and once you're on her side, you can never get her on your side. Once you're on her side, she will do anything and everything in her power and beyond to make sure that the job gets done.
And that doesn't happen with stallions.
No, with stallions, so there's a very famous saying: you request a mare, you discuss it with a stallion, and you tell a gelding.
And a gelding is a?
A gelding is a male
Youngling.
horse. No, a male horse without testicles.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh wow, I didn't know that. And are they allowed to be part of competitions if they're a gelding?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. So, but it's a different, quite like how in wrestling you've got lightweight.
No, they're all
heavyweight.
competing on the same platform.
Is it?
Yeah.
So it's okay for mares to compete with stallions on,
They're all on the same platform.
but they're able to, are mares able to beat stallions? Because that way, if genetically a stallion has a lot more, then people who are actually competing would never get a mare. They would just get stallions, and it's essentially, it ends up becoming a boys' club.
Exactly. But mares, like, coincidentally, in the last 10 years of my careers, all my top horses have only been mares.
Oh, and they are able to beat stallions.
Yeah, consistently. So the gender actually has very little to do with it. Of course, the power output in a stallion will be much more, 100%. You cannot match the power output in a stallion, but the mares will be 10 times smarter in general, what we've noticed. And again, like I was saying, once you get them, once you're on their side, they'll go above and beyond to get it done. Stallions will not do that for you. A stallion will give up or be like, always be in a little bit of a self-preservation mode.
So one pony, two Indian horses,
One
one
German
European
horse,
horse, 1 acre. We figured out exactly how we need to set it up. Now comes in the fact that the first thing you start off with is you start teaching people riding.
Correct.
So you would need 1 or 2 instructors. For 4 horses, I'm assuming 2 instructors are enough, or you would need
One instructor overall to start off should be enough. What I would strongly recommend is getting good staff to look after the horses. Because a lot of people focus on the riding bit, not realizing that your horse is working only 2 hours in a day.
Yeah.
22 hours the horse is not riding, which is basically how good your management is. Even in terms of finding good grooms is extremely difficult. That we know for a fact. But getting the right people and making sure that they stick with the horses is priceless.
Okay, so typically for riding, if someone goes to a good, respectable stable, says, I want to learn this, how much time would they have to invest to be reasonably okay? And how much money do people on an average invest in riding classes?
So it also, a large part of that depends on who the trainer is, whether you're training at a well-established stable, the qualifications and the competition results of the trainer, and essentially what the trainer has been doing for the last couple of years. A large part of how much people have to spend depends on that as well.
Okay.
So you do have trainers who competed nationally, decently successful, who charge anywhere between 2,500 to 3,500 per session.
Okay.
So a session is approximately 30 to 40 minutes on one horse.
But a horse typically would need how much rest between 2 sessions? For example, you said,
About an hour and a half.
oh, so it's really strenuous for them even to have like a normal human on top of them, because I would assume that they're big in.
Yeah, no, it's work. It's work.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. You can give them a 10-minute break also, but that's not very kind.
But it's almost like, when I think about it, because our mere exposure, when you're not in the riding circuit, your mere exposure is looking at, how there are horses on mountains who used to carry people, and you would go to a place like a Vaishno Devi, where they would use mares or horses or ponies
Right.
to take people up and down.
Right.
And you're thinking that they're practically riding a horse for like more than a couple of hours.
Yeah.
So that you're saying is like absolutely brutal and back-breaking for the horse.
It is a lot of work for them. It is a lot of work for them, for the horses.
So if a stable wants to optimize for revenue, and assuming they're respectfully resting their horses also, getting 4 sessions in a day from a horse is not unreasonable, is what you would say.
Ideally, I would cap it at 2.
Okay.
Again, it's a personal choice, but people do cap it at 4 and manage to look after their horses pretty decently well.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that means that anywhere between 6 to 12,000 per day.
On a cheaper spectrum.
Okay. For 3,000 per session.
Yeah. So there are trainers in India who also charge 10,000 per session.
Yeah.
For 30
wow.
minutes. Yeah.
So anywhere between like 3,000 to 10,000 per session.
Yeah.
And purely from a resource perspective, when you think about it, how do you allocate that cost to your trainer? Is it that trainers are then on salary and then?
Most of the time the trainers are on a salary.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what would be the average salary that one would have to pay a trainer?
I think in India you can get a decent trainer for between 25 and 40,000. Someone who's competed up to a respectable level and can get your kids up to a basic competition level.
Okay, so 30,000-40,000 is fair. In India, you can get a trainer.
Yeah. The first thing that I personally look for is how they treat the horses. You can be the best trainer in the world, but if you're rough with the horses, it's not very nice.
Hmm.
So for me personally, the first thing I see is how well you're treating the horses. Second, then we also ask for previous results, previous videos, uh, testimonies in our line of work, sometimes if required, in case we don't know the person.
Okay.
But and how good you are teaching, because riding and teaching are two very separate skill sets. You can be the world's best rider, but it's a very high possibility that you can't teach, and vice versa.
Got it.
Like there are trainers who have not competed at a medium level also, but have 2 to 3 students who are competing at a top level. Purely because they can teach well. They couldn't execute it for themselves probably, but they're teaching phenomenally well with superb results.
Got it.
Yeah.
So essentially, you can charge close to 8-10,000 per session
Yeah.
at a stable, even when your trainer is at about 40-50,000 per month of salary,
Yeah.
and that economics works, and trainers know it, and that's okay. Would you say one trainer to 5-6 horses at tops?
Yeah. About 6 horses is a fair number to have.
Okay. So if someone has 6 horses, they
Yeah.
can do with one trainer.
Correct.
If they have 10 to 12, they will need 2 trainers at the very minimum.
Yes.
Got it. And now, in an arena, I'm assuming is where horses come and train.
Correct.
So typically, sessions are allocated or scheduled in such a way that if one person has come for a session, the trainer is spending time with them with one horse. They go and then someone else's session starts, or do you typically have 2 people training at the same time?
So we don't do group lessons. For us, we do only one-on-one lessons. But a lot of places that are trying to involve a large part of the community or a lot of people, they end up doing group lessons. So you can have 2 all the way till 10 people in one lesson.
Really?
Yeah.
And like 2 trainers managing.
One trainer managing.
One trainer managing
10 people. The only drawback in that is that you don't get the kind of individual attention, and a lot of times a lot of kids fall through the cracks because of this.
Yeah.
Where a lot of kids have a lot of potential, but they need certain very specific hand holding, or they need a very specific type of instruction from the trainer, which you cannot give to a child if there are 10 people that you're also looking at.
But do you think that also means that, for example, for such sessions, imagine a person's paying 1,000 rupees instead of 3,000 per session?
Correct.
Because it's a group class.
Correct.
So it kind of expands your market or expands the funnel, and you can get a lot more people in to try it out. And that in some way kind of creates your market. Or you would say you want to put a financial constraint also to 3,000-4,000 per session because it brings in serious people and not just about
It depends
anyone in.
from place to place actually. Like we do not take on any absolute beginners, or only if they've come through a very strong reference network is when we let them come and start them off with our trainers. We are absolutely dead against group lessons initially in this setup. In a parallel universe where we were starting off with a lot of kids, etc., just to give, it's the only reason we would get into group lessons is to make it a little accessible to people. From a performance standpoint, initially till that up till a certain level, it's not as helpful as a one-on-one lesson would be.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I would assume if a horse, if someone optimizes and at capacity makes about 10,000 per day
Correct.
from riding lessons from one horse, and it's like 2 to 3 lakh per month, 3 lakh when you're using the horse practically every day with no break,
Yeah.
and 2 lakh is 20 days. That means between 24 to 36 lakhs per annum is what you can end up making just through riding lessons on a horse.
Correct.
So if you've spent anywhere like 50-60 lakhs on a horse, your cost can get recovered in 1 to 2 years easily.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then the horse is just an asset for you to keep
Building on and
keep
getting
building
better.
on.
Yeah.
Okay. So riding lessons ends up becoming one revenue stream.
Correct.
And it's a great revenue stream if you can recover the cost of the horse in say less than 2 years. It makes amazing financial
Yeah.
sense. Next comes what are similar ancillary revenues that you begin to add on to this.
Okay. So the training is one very important part of this. The logistics is another very important part. So once you have people who've reached a certain level and would like to start going to horse shows and start their competitions, the horses are generally moved around in specialized vehicles called animal ambulances
Yeah.
or horse floats.
Okay.
Traditionally, we would move them around in trucks, but again, in the last 5 years, a lot has changed. Everyone has their own animal ambulances.
So you have invested in your own animal ambulance?
Yes, we have. We have.
Okay. And typically, how much would such a thing cost?
With the chassis, we spent I think close to around 50-55 lakhs
Okay. And the size is similar to a truck,
to a bus.
to a bus.
Yes.
And how is it different?
It's completely made from scratch for the horses only and the transport.
Okay.
So we put an AC that's about 12 tons. We've angled
Wow.
it at I think it's 12 or 15 degrees, which is international standard, so that the horses reach fresh. Because if they're standing laterally or facing each other, they come out more tired after a long journey. Whereas if they're standing at a little bit of an angle, various studies have shown that they come out a lot fresher
Okay.
than if they're standing face to face or if they're standing like at straight angles.
Got it.
So a lot of thought went into it,
Okay.
building it. So in fact, we were the first ones to design this sort of concept in India, and post that, then everyone started replicating and
So how many
enhancing.
horses can travel in
7 horses.
7?
Yeah. So we
Oh,
have
wow.
2 vehicles
Okay.
that we currently use.
Okay. So typically you would see whenever there's a show and a lot of your clients and customers who've let their horses be with you
Correct.
because they know it'll be good professionally taken care of.
Yeah.
Whenever there's a show, a lot of them would be participating because there is part of this circuit and
Correct.
they get to know about it. And then transporting the horse is something that you would charge for.
Absolutely.
And that per show, typically how is the pricing like for logistics?
So normally for a round trip between Delhi, we charge anywhere between 18 to 20,000
Okay.
for 7 horses. So the cost is then obviously split between the 7 horses.
Oh, so it's split among the 7 horses?
Of course.
Okay, so 18 to 20,000 is one trip
Yeah, within Delhi.
within Delhi?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then for the longer journeys, for example, if the competition's in Mumbai or Calcutta or Bangalore for that matter, then it's
But would that be ambulance or would that be
ambulance. No, the same
Okay.
vehicle travels.
So essentially anywhere in India,
Yeah.
it's the vehicle going by road.
Correct.
And there's no air travel typically in India.
In India, not as yet.
Okay.
Not
It's
as yet.
only if you have to travel to say like a Thailand or a Japan
Correct.
show that you mentioned.
Correct. Yeah.
And how much does that cost for a person?
If the horses are flying out,
Yeah.
anywhere between 15 to 25,000 euros per horse
25,000 euros per horse.
to fly up and down to these championships.
Wow.
Yeah,
That is steep.
that's steep. But also the prize money is around 100,000 euros. So if you're lucky, you can get a part of it back.
Oh wow. 100,000 euros is the prize money.
Yeah.
So what is prize money? Okay, I don't want to jump to prize money right now because there's so much to unpack
Right.
here.
Right.
Wonderful. So the next thing is logistics.
Yeah.
And at the time of helping people buy a horse.
Right.
So essentially what will happen is that as you start a stable and you say started with 3 or 4 horses, now people have started coming in, they've started paying for lessons. And at what point in the journey do you think people realize, okay, I want to buy a horse of my own?
It depends person to person. So we have a lot of people who want to start off after they've bought a horse. We generally don't push for that too much because it's a big commitment.
Correct.
Writing a check on the first day to buy or get a horse is the easy thing to do. But looking after the horse and dealing with the emotional attachment that follows is a separate thing altogether.
Yeah.
So we have people who have started after they bought 2 horses. We have people who've not bought horses for 2 years and are leasing horses from us for their respective competitions, etc. We have people who have a combination of bought horses and leased horses.
Okay.
So there is no set format. It depends purely on what the customer or the client needs.
But say if there is affordability and they've been at it for say a couple of years, there comes a time when they're like, okay, I
Yeah.
might as well.
Yeah, yeah.
And when they do, when they're ready to spend money, you make a percentage
Yes, I do.
when they buy a horse.
Correct.
And is that something which is the client and you agree on the percentage with them? Or is it something that on the supply side it works like a marketplace that whoever sells, has to give a part of the sale
No,
to you.
so we keep it very transparent. We always take the finder's fee that we normally charge is 10%,
Okay.
and we take it directly from the client. It's
Okay.
a written
So that
agreement.
they feel there's no incentive
Of
for
course.
you to sell someone else's horse.
Of course, of course.
Perfect.
So that is very, very clear cut. And then how we've done it over the last years is that before we fly out, we have a verbal discussion or a contract. If we are comfortable with the people and we know them, then it's just a verbal discussion.
Perfect.
If it's someone new, then we just send across a contract that all expenses and 10% of the horse's value, once it's finalized, are to be paid as fees.
Sure, understood. Next comes the part that, of course, when you have a stable and you have the place, you could also charge for maintenance of the horses
Absolutely.
and taking care of it.
Correct.
And typically, if someone has a horse, be it a stallion or a horse or a pony or a mare, I'm assuming
Yeah.
the charges are pretty much the same, or
More
there
or
will be
less.
some difference on diet and stuff, but more or less the same.
90% it's the same.
Okay, so how much would a person spend to just have their horse taken care of on a monthly basis?
So there are places that will charge you 25,000 a month
Okay,
to look after the horses. There are also places that will charge you 1,20,000 to look after the same horse.
okay,
A large part of it depends on the level of care, the quality of food and grass that they're getting, the quality of training that the horses are receiving, the quality of access that that particular stable can buy you in terms of the shows that you are invited to, the shows that you're competing in, whether it's in India or in Europe. So a large part of it, of all of this, also depends on where you're stabled
okay.
and who you're training with.
So you would say 5 to 10% the cost of the horse
Yeah.
is what one should be prepared to spend annually on maintenance.
Yeah. If what the maths that we normally suggest people is for one horse who's in very active high level competition, please be prepared to spend anything between 15 to 20 lakhs, because a large part of
15 to
it
20 lakhs per annum.
per annum, because a large part of it is also travel, a large part of it is also international doctors who are flying in to make sure that the maintenance of the horses are done. A large part of it is also the regular weekly maintenance, whether it's laser, cryo, shockwave, that's happening for the horses.
Really?
Yeah,
Like on a weekly basis?
on a weekly basis.
Okay, so do you also then invest in, say, laser and cryo machines and keep it in house, and then you're
We have vendors who come and doctors who come and do it for us.
okay? And are these vets or
They
general
are,
doctors who
they are
got clinics
general
and
doctors who've done veterinary courses to utilize these machines on equine athletes.
Okay.
Yeah. So they have a rough idea about what they're doing.
Wow. Okay. So at a stable like yours,
Yeah.
I would assume anywhere between 25,000 to a lakh, depending on the horse, the purpose of maintenance is what one could charge for maintenance of a horse.
So at a stable that's at our level, we would starting would be close to a lakh.
Okay.
Yeah. And that's just for absolutely basic work and basic for someone who's not actively involved in competition, and then it keeps going up.
Okay.
25,000 would be someone with a much smaller establishment and not probably the same level of
Competitive sportsmen
exactly.
coming in.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if someone's just starting off to build a market,
Yeah.
then
would be a good-
25,000 is
yeah.
what they can easily charge.
Yeah. Yeah.
And how much of, say, a 25,000 would go into the feed and how much would go into doctor visits and other care? Typically, what's the cost
Normally
like?
after 25, the doctor visits and all are charged over and above. So the
Okay.
extras are always over and above. The 25,000 or what is in our language is called livery.
Livery.
Livery, Livery.
Okay.
So that's the
Where
main.
does it come from? Is it like a
I think it's a Latin word. I might be wrong.
okay?
But the maintenance part of the horse is called livery. So the livery would generally, if you feed them well and you look after them well, at cost for someone like us, including everything that we give, which is about 40 odd supplements that the top horses are getting, it comes to about 55-60,000 for us.
The cost.
Just the cost.
And for someone who's charging their customer 25,000, their cost would be closer to 15,000.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay, so 50% is what your cost is, and the balance is
Yeah.
what you charge as a markup
Yeah.
for the service.
Approximately.
Okay, which means a horse is eating close to 10,000 rupees worth of 10 to 15,000 is
Easily.
easily in a month.
Easily. That is if you really curtail everything and keep it very, very like
But
cut
you would ideally, if you've invested so much, you'll
exactly
be ready to spend 50,000 to a lakh per month on maintenance is what
at least a lakh.
at least a
At
lakh.
least a lakh, yeah.
At least a lakh. No, that's fair. Okay. So spend about buy a house,
Buy a horse.
buy a horse. Wow, when we're talking crores, I'm so used to just thinking about buying houses instead of horses. So okay, a person spends about 1 crore on getting a good horse. They may spend about closer to anywhere between 25 to 50 lakhs on just the purchase of it. So say 1.5 crores is the cost of a horse. Maintenance is about a lakh a month, and then they learn to ride.
Yeah,
Now imagine, because you can buy yourself into this sport.
right.
Now you've started riding.
Gee.
In how much time of you doing it, at what frequency do you feel people are ready to start doing shows and start getting into competition? I understand it depends a lot on skill and stuff, but imagine someone is willing, is sincere, is actively doing all of this. How much does it typically take?
Normally, what we've noticed is that it shouldn't take longer than 8 months.
Oh wow, that's fairly early.
Yeah, because the systems that we have in place, like again, I can talk very openly about what we do. In about 8 months to maximum 10 months, we can have a child ready for or a client ready for shows.
And a child, you would say, is about 10 plus.
10 plus, 10 plus. Like we have kids who are also younger than 10 who already started with their shows, etc. But they are also exceptionally talented and hardworking kids.
And I would say this happens in India. So
in India.
How many shows happen in a year typically?
A lot, like more than one can count or keep track of. So just
So there's one happening every weekend, would you say?
like this weekend, there are 2 shows this coming
Oh.
weekend, and that's only in between Meerut and Delhi. So the shows that are happening in the south are separate. There's a show happening in Jaipur that I am aware of. So this coming weekend, there would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 shows all over India.
Oh. So in a year, easily there, or is there also a season for it?
Generally, it starts off in September,
Okay.
and the North India season finishes by end March or April.
Hmm.
The south keeps on going because the weather in Bangalore is pretty good throughout the year.
So you would say overall in India, there could easily be 200 shows a year.
Easily.
Easily. And is it people like yourself who have stables, who are part of this ecosystem, who can today decide to have a show at your stable? And then because you know the right people in the right network, you could
Right.
say, we're hosting a show, come and everyone competes here.
Exactly.
And that gives you an opportunity to look at talent elsewhere and then
Absolutely.
prepare your kids accordingly
Absolutely.
for nationals and internationals.
Absolutely.
So do you host shows?
We don't host shows. We are a purely competitive establishment.
Okay.
So we take part in a lot of
Shows.
all over India and internationally as well. So the international season for us starts sometime in May. So we do May, June, July in Europe with most of the kids.
Okay.
And August onwards we come back, and we like to give the horses a little bit of a break for about 2 months in the summers because they worked hard. And then August we come back and get started with the Indian season.
Wow. Okay. And typically, what's the charge for participating in a show?
It's not too expensive in India, thankfully. Your entry fees can vary anything between 1,000 to 2,000 rupees
Oh, that's barely anything.
per horse. Yes.
Yeah. Okay,
It's-
that's not much.
Yeah, it's not much. And then the stabling, where so you transport your horse and then you keep him at the show venue for, or him or her at the show venue for, let's say 5 days. That would typically be another 2,500 or 3,000.
That's not much again.
That's not much.
Okay. And when you do this, for example, people who organize shows, do they have financial incentive in doing a show? Because with these kind of prices, I don't know how much money you're really
A
making.
large part of it is the quantity of the horses that are also coming in and the riders that are also coming in.
So it's like if you're making 5,000 per horse and you've got 100 people show up
Ji.
over a weekend, it's like 5 lakh you've made over that weekend.
Exactly, and the cost of actually running a show, if you have a fully fledged running establishment, is negligible because you have the resources, you have the
Correct.
jump set, you have the manpower anyways that you need for these many horses. It just keeps rolling over.
And 100 horses per show is a reasonable
is
estimate.
average. Is average.
Oh, so that means if you have a stable, you want to start like a show in Ludhiana, for example, you can easily do 5 lakhs of that as well.
Very easily.
So don't you think this industry as of now has very little competition and a lot kind of going for it at the moment?
It does. It does.
Okay, so a lot more people you feel over the next few years can definitely come in.
100%.
That
a lot of
means
people will come in.
will come in.
Yeah,
So apart from there being a white space in this one setting up a stable,
Yeah.
what are other easier entry points to get into this industry? Because it's a wildly growing market, doubling every year.
Right.
At this rate, I'm assuming there are a lot of other things, because the prerequisite for you to set up a stable is having 1 or 2 crores,
1 or 2 acres of
having
land.
1 or 2 acres of land.
Yeah.
Someone who doesn't have it, what else can they do to get into this industry and start making money?
So there are a massive number of opportunities that one can tap into with limited to no knowledge of horses also. So I'll just give you a very basic example. When horses are in the stable, in Europe, a large part of them use something known as wood shavings.
Okay.
Wood shavings is essentially like bedding for the horses. So they come in compressed blocks and of 20 kilos, and you open 4 of them and they open up, and then a large part of the wood shaving job is to absorb the urine so it doesn't give any smell.
Got it.
In India, unfortunately, no one is doing wood shavings. So
And is it just like wood shavings literally put together?
yes, they treat in Europe. They do treat the wood shavings with a coating, and they make sure the edges are not sharp so it doesn't cut the horses. But
Okay.
I think that's about it.
And how much does it cost? Like one wood shaving, how
Uh,
long does it last?
A bale of wood shavings in India is about 2,500 rupees, and one stable in a month will need at least about 8 of them.
Okay.
So you can do the math on how many I would need.
So you said one bale
Yeah,
is about 2,500 rupees.
Correct.
In India.
yeah,
And when you say one stable, it's one horse.
one horse
Will use 8 of them
at least.
at least in a month.
Yeah,
That means about, oh wow, that's like 20,000 worth of just wood shaving.
per horse.
This is apart from food.
This is apart
which
from
is
food.
why it came up to about 1 lakh is what you end up
exactly.
spending.
Yeah.
Oh wow. And how many vendors are there selling wood shavings? in
There's
India?
only one vendor who's importing it right now and selling it. So
But why are they not making it in India?
they haven't been able to. No one's actually put in the time and the effort into understanding it. It's a huge opportunity. If we had time, we would jump into all of these things. But unfortunately, we don't have the time to do
Yeah.
it.
So one has to pick their battles.
Yeah, yeah. Second white space would definitely be the supplements market for the horses, because majority of the supplements etc. are being imported in from Europe nowadays. There is, again, it's like human healthcare into 10 in terms of the options that you can give. So you can give something for the hoof, you can give oil to put on the hoof, you can give something for the joints, you can give something for the tendons, you can give something to put on muscle, you can give something to take off a little bit of fat. You can there are supplements now that are given to calm down slightly stressed horses. There are supplements to make slightly calmer horses a little more active. The possibilities are just endless. There are supplements and inhalers for horses nowadays that are given before a competition to just expand the lungs a little bit so that there's more oxygen inflow that's going in. The opportunities just in the medical space for horses are endless. I mean, there are big companies like Mankind, etc., that are stepping into this space now with fantastic international collaborations and tie-ups. But I feel even after a big conglomerate or a giant like they step in, there is ample space for many players to come in and find their niches.
So basically 20,000 is what you've spent on just the wood shavings.
Yeah.
You've spent close to 20,000 on their food at the very minimum.
Yeah,
5,000 on their supplements.
much more than that.
Much more than that.
Much more than that.
So you're assuming 50,000 is anyway spent on these things.
Exactly.
Where do the other spends go, and is that a white space again?
So we bifurcate it normally as 50% goes towards the training of the horse and 50% goes towards the maintenance of the horse.
So this is the maintenance
This
part.
is just the maintenance part.
And by training, you mean even when the rider or the owner of the horse is not present?
The horses are still being trained and upscaled non-stop.
And how much of their time goes into training on a daily or a weekly basis?
At least in a day, they're trained at least about 40 minutes in the morning, and in case required, they're doing some form of exercise or strength training in the evening.
So if you have 4 horses, imagine one training instructor is with the riders on,
Right,
training 4 at the same time.
right,
And they have to train horses without the riders.
right.
Can they train like 8-10 horses at the same
Very
time?
easily.
Very easily. That's not a problem.
One after the other, ideally.
Because the training is like making them run,
Yeah, exercising them, working the muscles, seeing
Okay.
what problems the rider is having and rectifying those problems. Because if the rider can rectify the problems themselves, then they don't need you. Then they are the trainer.
Yeah.
But 99% of the times, they will have a rider will have a conversation with the trainer saying that, I'm having problems, for example, turning on the right, or my horse is scared of this kind of jump. So can you help with that? So that's where the trainer's experience will come in to figure out why is the pain coming in. Is it something because of a dental issue? Is it because of a back issue or something to do in the leg? So that's where the trainer's experience comes in, where first they identify if it's a medical issue or not, and if it's not a medical, if it's a medical issue, then that issue is treated. Then you move on to whether it's a work related issue, whether a horse has just gotten used to getting away with work, then you fix that. And third is then you figure out if they're just being stubborn. The last thing happens very, very rarely.
Okay.
Within the first two, you should be able to solve around 95% of the problem.
Wow. Okay. So we've spoken about consumables.
Yeah.
Where are the other opportunities in, say, services and goods,
Yeah.
which are more long term?
So in terms of goods, a large part of the European market is fed by Kanpur
Okay.
in terms of the leather goods.
Okay.
One would go to Europe and spend, for example, 100 euros on a bridle, which is what you put on the face of the horse, only
Okay.
to go home and open the tag and see it was made in Kanpur.
But does it say Kanpur? Kanpur?
It says Kanpur, India,
Okay. Okay.
which is
So it's a matter of pride in Europe to actually buy it if it's coming from Kanpur, India, because
Yeah.
typically you would see like a made in
Made in
India tag
India,
and you wouldn't
yeah,
care where it in India.
yeah,
It's,
yeah. So even
Okay.
some of the best quality boots in the world are in fact made in Kanpur. So you would end up spending a lot of money buying those boots in Europe, but there is a massive market for these things in India as well, because a lot of people are going to Europe, buying these things at 5x the cost, and then coming back and using them at home.
Yeah. Yeah.
So just in terms of the basic equipment, you have your bridles, your girths, martingales, and a lot of other equipment that are put on the horses that are being manufactured in India and exported, and Indians are going outside and buying the same stuff and flying back with it. So even if someone can tap into that market, and I believe a lot of people have started doing it.
Just like equestrian apparel and goods is what you would say.
Absolutely,
So
absolutely.
maybe start with like saddles, boots.
The leather work, 100%.
So boots and saddle.
Boots, saddle, and other saddlery, like you have, your girths
Yeah.
that goes on the stomach of the horse, or the martingales that are on the shoulders. All that is superb quality. It's some of the best quality in the world is made in India.
And typically for like a saddle and girth and all these things, how much do people spend?
Saddle that's well fitted on a horse, people would easily spend between 5 to 10,000 euros. And I don't see any reason why that can't be replicated in India.
Yeah. Man, this is amazing. Like this
Yeah.
is,
And that's just like on the horse's part. For the riders also, the breeches, like the riding pants that one wears, or the riding t-shirts and the blazers that one wears, can vary. Most of it's anyways exported out of India. If someone can establish a set brand, and I do believe a lot of people are doing it now, that they're setting up more India-centric brands.
and for it to be profitable, do you think if someone were to tie up with just 10, 20 stables, say if someone comes to you today saying I'm doing it in India and you anyway have so many horses and people need to buy it and I'm willing to sell it to you at say 50% the price of what you get in Europe, you can test the quality is the same and you build your markup on top of it, and do you think it will fly off the shelf?
Very easily. The in-house consumption will be massive.
Just to get a sense of if someone has a stable of 4 to 5 horses,
Hanji.
what would be the in-house consumption of saddles and girths and other stuff?
So for someone with 4 to 5 horses, of course, ideally, best case scenario is we recommend a fitted saddle for every horse in our establishment. At least if one cannot do that, then we recommend one saddle for 2 horses. The pony will need a separate saddle because, of course, they're much smaller.
Yeah.
The European warm blood will need a separate saddle, of course, because they're much broader on the shoulders or the muscling part. The Indian horses can do with a common shared saddle. So you can easily function in that setting with 3 to 5 saddles
Okay.
total, and
So you would say
Including
close to
everything.
anywhere between 5 to 15 lakhs is what people would spend on a
if they
saddle.
bought everything from Europe.
Okay.
The same thing, if it's produced in India, can be bought sub 3 lakhs.
Oh, got it. So, which means if someone were to start a business of just putting together this leather work,
Yeah.
and there are so many leather factories which are already making leather bags and boots and purses and whatnot
Yeah,
in
yeah,
India.
yeah, yeah.
If they were to start this and tie up with and find stables like yourselves, this in itself can be a 1 crore revenue business
Very easily.
very easily,
Very easily.
which would leave them with at least 30-40% margin
Easily.
easily.
Yeah.
And then they can scale up from there and just take it because the market is growing.
And then you can always go international.
Correct. Okay. And services?
Yes. So as the performance level increases in the horses, they need all kinds of supportive therapy to make sure that they're performing at their best. In Europe, physiotherapists have been, found to have superb results with high performance horses. And in India, unfortunately, there's no one who's doing good physiotherapy for the horses. So I feel that's a massive, massive gap in the market currently.
And how much would a physiotherapist charge for them and how frequently would you require them?
On average, we would pay about 5,000 rupees per horse per session
Okay.
for a physiotherapist.
And you would in total be spending close to how much on physiotherapy in a month?
In a month, about just us alone, we would be spending, if we're doing 20 horses once a week, so you can multiply that
3-4 lakhs.
easily.
Yeah?
Yeah, at our setup, easily about that much would go into
Okay.
physiotherapy and restorative therapies.
And how many physiotherapists kind of come to you?
Just one.
Just one?
Yeah, from Europe, whenever they come, we just have one, and one assistant normally flies,
Wow.
or a traveling apprentice who's learning.
So even if, for example, someone were to do this in India,
Yeah.
and they were to tie up with a bunch of stables, a physiotherapist only catering to horses can get specialized and earn at least, I wouldn't say 4 lakhs, at least 2 lakhs a month easily is what they can make.
From one establishment, yes.
From one establishment itself.
Establishment, yeah.
Okay.
So,
So I mean, even if you're not like really entrepreneurial and you're really not going out there, couple of lakhs is easy to make as a physiotherapist in India.
Physiotherapist or a machine supportive veterinarian who does
Laser therapy, cryo.
Yeah. Very,
Okay.
very easily.
Okay.
Very, very easily.
And you mentioned dentists.
Yes.
Okay, so what is
So
it like?
with,
Why is it needed to
So
begin
horse
with?
dentistry is also very, very important for two reasons. One is if the teeth are uneven, the quality of food that's actually reaching the stomach is not great. It needs to be chewed down to a very gooey form for the horse to absorb it properly. If grains are going in properly into the stomach, the body is working harder to absorb it than actual food, the utility of the food that's coming out. That affects the horses in two ways. That you'll be feeding a lot. There's a lot of load on the system, but the power output that you'll be getting from the horses will be 1/4 of what it actually needs to be.
Got it.
So that's why the dentists make sure that the grind of the teeth, that the horses are able to chew the food properly. And second, a lot of modern dentists are doing something known as bit seating. So the horse bit that goes in the mouth, they will analyze the bit and just shape the last tooth in accordance to that bit, just to make sure that in case there's ever a lot of pressure, there's nothing blocking the horse. So a horse, from a dental perspective, will never have a problem that a horse is having problems doing certain tasks because the teeth or the bit is interfering with the teeth and causing some
And the
discomfort.
bit is what you use to kind of tie in a harness to
Just
give them
direct-
indication.
exactly, just
Direct them
directions.
in a.
Yeah.
Okay. So that could really hurt them. So it's a way to kind of shape the teeth in a way that it doesn't hurt them and it fits well.
Exactly. It's,
Okay.
it's like, think of it like a custom-made shoe made to measure for your foot.
Okay. But that also means that a dentist is a less frequent requirement, almost say,
Once in 6 months.
oh, still once in 6 months. And why so? Because once the teeth is done,
Because the teeth are also constantly growing.
oh, okay.
So you have to keep them at a certain size throughout. It's always better.
Not like humans, like our teeth are not.
No.
So their teeth are constantly growing.
Yeah, the teeth are growing, and we just have to make sure that they're never at a stage where there are dental problems arising. Because a lot of times the back teeth start growing hooks and they start cutting into the gums, which cause mouth ulcers, and those then eventually lead to other problems.
Okay.
So a large part of it is also just maintenance work to make sure that no hooks are being formed, the gums are not being cut, or there are no oral cavities or anything of that sort.
And how much do you end up paying these dentists?
So per horse, the dentist would normally charge around anything between 6,000 to 7,500 per horse.
Okay. And in one visit, they will, on an average, see about 10 horses?
30 horses on an average. And that's
Oh,
at one
wow.
establishment.
Oh, wow. So it's almost like over 1 lakh they'll end up making on one visit
Yeah, from one place.
from one place. And typically, these horse dentists in India are also tied up with at least 5, 6 places, is what
Yes.
I'm assuming. And
Yes,
they're making close to 5, 6 lakhs a month easy,
maybe more,
maybe more.
maybe more.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming they would have done dentistry and then they go and specialize in horse.
Equine specialization they do after human dentistry.
Amazing, man. Like, this is just insane stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, have we missed out on any other white space?
One more white space is the human physiotherapist and balance coaches.
Okay.
So as you reach a certain level of performance in riding, you physically need a little bit of help. So in Europe and in America especially, there are a lot of specialists who specialize in working on your body form over a jump, where the legs need to be, how much weight needs to be in the legs. There's a lot of video analysis that they do to see if you're preferring one side more. So what happens at a very high level in sport is that if you are preferring one side more, the horse has to compensate by putting more weight on the other. So if the horse is not landing equally, the risk of injury on the other side is a lot higher. So then you're essentially doing it to balance out and disturb the horse as less as possible
Got it.
after a point. So in India, there's no one who does balance training for the riders. And from a hardcore performance point of view, that's a huge white space, because as there are a lot of kids who are reaching high level of competitive sport much earlier than we did in our day, it's a very, very important thing that is regularly considered in Europe.
And then it comes to, say, something like breeding of horses.
Correct.
And what is the ecosystem like in India typically? What's the demand for it? How many horses are you requested to breed in a year? Or is it something that you keep ready as inventory, and when people come, you have a bunch of horses ready to say this is what is available for you to procure?
So the breeding scene in India is still at a very nascent stage. A lot of people have started breeding horses in a smaller setting where they had one female or a mare and they bred from a stallion, and then now they've got one baby and now they're breeding again. At scale, there are very few people who are breeding at scale. There is one establishment in Pune, one in Bangalore. We just started our breeding operation. We've noticed that the demand for pure European babies, where the mother and the father both are Europeans, and the only difference is that the baby is born in India, but the bloodlines are essentially all European. The demand is just massive. We did not expect that much demand initially for horses that were born in India, because there is still not a very concrete proof of concept of how successful those horses can be, because they're still young.
Yeah.
So that proof of concept will take at least 4 or 5 years once they come into very competitive
show.
sport. So that's why the gestation period is anyways very high when it comes to breeding.
But imagine it's successful, because, I mean, you're trying to give the best of facilities here.
Yeah,
And of course, the bloodlines are European.
yeah,
So if someone had to go and procure it for 1 crore there,
yeah,
would they get it at 50% the price in India?
exactly.
So that also kind of expands the market for you
Exactly,
and
exactly.
makes it a lot more accessible. Anything else do you think we've missed out on that
I
we
think
should cover?
one more massive opportunity is the grass for the horses,
Yeah.
because like they on average a horse is eating between 15 to 20 kilograms a day per horse.
Really?
Yeah.
So per day, how much are they consuming in cost terms?
In cost terms, at about 15 rupees a kilo on average.
Yeah.
15 to 18 rupees a kilo on average.
So that's about 300, 400 rupees per day is
Per
what
day,
they're
yeah.
consuming, just grass.
Just grass. Yeah.
And where do you get it from?
So we have vendors who source it for us. We did try to grow it, but again, we did not have the time to do it. But the vendors are also, I believe, sourcing it from big farms in UP,
Okay.
where in big farms the grass is just growing on around the side of the actual
Farmland.
crop. Yeah. So,
So you can just cut it and sell it. So it's almost like a byproduct sale.
Yeah, it's like a byproduct sale. And then like we get one big truck of grass every 2 days, because the horses are they go through it so fast. So, and grass is a massive issue all over India. It's not just, so if someone puts up like a baling plant and vacuum packs 20 kilos of baled hay and sells it down south, the same thing that costs 15 or 18 rupees here, we pay around 35 to 40 rupees for the same quality of grass in South India.
Wow. So it's almost like people are spending, say, 800 rupees per day on grass for one horse.
Yeah.
In a month, okay, that's almost 20,000 rupees. I'm assuming they're spending on
That is
grass
3, 4
per horse.
per horse. So again, we feed them as much as they want. A lot of people cap it at 10 kilos also. So that's why also the costs actually, if you break it down, they all add up.
Yeah.
And that's why we charge what
Which
we
is
charge.
why a lakh a month is quite
Yeah,
reasonable.
yeah, yeah.
Thank you, Sehaj. I think I never expected there would be so much opportunity in this industry, and just meeting you has given me so much exposure. And I would hope a lot of people in India who've got parcels of land and don't know what to do with it now have an idea, and it's an easy space where they can get into, become sports people,
Yeah,
improve their health, and make money while they're at it.
definitely.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sehaj has almost convinced me to get into riding. And you never know, I might just find myself among horses a lot more now. I hope this conversation helped you learn a thing or two, and keep following for more episodes of Founders Office with Sarthak Ahuja.